all my beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, my name's Vanessa Somuayina and I'd like to welcome you into the fam. So guys, we're going to get straight into this juicy, precise, and super personal pick a card tarot reading, which is going to reveal to you how others view you. So if you've ever wondered what strangers think about you when they first meet you, this is the perfect prediction for you. And I hope you all can appreciate my directness, my honesty, and the fact that I'm not going to hold back any information that the universe has for you. So if this is the first time that you're receiving a tarot reading, don't panic. It is very simple. All you need to do is pick one of these 4 groups, then scroll down into the description box or to the top of the comment section, click the corresponding timestamp of the group of your choice, and you'll be fast forwarded to the relevant portion of this video where you get to figure out precisely how strangers view you. So now let me introduce you to the 4 groups that I've got prepared for you. Group number 1 corresponds to the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Tarot deck, as well as the Black Obsidian Crystal. Group number 2 corresponds to the Below the Surface Oracle deck, as well as the Carnelian Crystal. Group number 3 corresponds to the Pastel Journey Tarot deck, as well as the Jade Crystal. And group number 4 corresponds to the Astral Realms Crystal Oracle, as well as the Citrine Crystal. But as already mentioned, all these timestamps can be found below in the description box. And if you're looking for unique oracle decks or tarot decks or even crystals, check out my online store, bowlife.com. The Below the Surface Oracle, for example, and the Pastel Journey Tarot, which I will be using throughout these readings. These are decks that I have authored and self-published. They come with guidebooks, so if you love tarot and oracle decks and want to add these to your collection, know that everything ships worldwide straight from where I reside in Switzerland. So I will now give you a little moment of privacy to meditate on these 4 groups. Feel free to pause the video right here if you need to, and pick whichever one of these groups that you intuitively feel drawn towards. So I'll speak to you in a second. Alright, so by now you've hopefully been able to select one of these 4 groups. I will be starting off your readings with group number 1, which corresponds to the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Tarot, as well as the Black Obsidian Crystal. So if this is the group that you chose, please continue watching. And to all of my other beautiful groups and crystals, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading about how others see you and the things that you may not notice about yourself, but others do. So you chose the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Tarot, as well as the Black Obsidian Crystal. In case you didn't know, we'll just do a quick close-up before we get into your reading. This is the Black Obsidian Crystal. You may have felt drawn to this crystal because it is one that helps you remove unwanted and negative energies. So if you're looking for a crystal that can just be in your home or that can be worn and help you protect yourself from anything that you don't desire, the Black Obsidian is a really great option, and it's usually also pretty affordable. However, now let's get into your reading, shall we? I'm just making sure everything is in focus. There we go. I want to make sure you can see all the little details, as we're not going to spare any information. I'm going to be very direct and honest with you during this reading, group 1, and I hope that you can appreciate this. So first up, we've got the camel. So I see that others view you as someone who is very disciplined and has a lot of endurance and is also intuitive. In case you didn't know, camels can survive for a very long time in the desert, in the scorching heat, without any water, without any liquids. And the moon is representative of your inner world and your intuition. So having strong endurance and being intuitive, it is a really great combination of character traits, because when times get tough and you know that you can get out the other end stronger and rise like a phoenix from the ashes, you have that intuitive knowledge of yourself, you have that intrinsic self-belief, you're a great person to be with when it comes to romantic relationships. You are a great person to have on a team work-wise. You're just overall someone who others feel like they can count on and who others feel can also be very frugal. So you're not the type of person to, for example, spend a lot of money just to impress others. You're the type of person who can live within their means, or at least that is the impression that you make on others. So I have one more card here for you off of the top of the pile. We've also got the Swan. So others view you as someone who is elegant, who is very beautiful, and in a sense also untouchable. If you've seen a swan in real life, you know that they kind of have this air of confidence or mystery where you don't want to get too close to these beautiful beings because they kind of have this don't F with me kind of energy, this I don't take BS from anyone type of aura. That's what I see here in the Swan, and they seem very confident but not cocky. They're extremely beautiful, but it's not like they just rely on that, or like they're the type of creature that is very beautiful and you feel like you can mess with. They definitely have this aura of, I know my worth, I know my value, and anyone who doesn't better stay far away. And that is the type of impression that you make. That is how others see you, as someone who is kind of intimidating, if you will. Next up within the Deer, you also have a bit of a fragile side. You have a side of you that is very delicate, that is unique in many ways, and also that others can see is very soft and has maybe been hurt or broken before. So if you have been in a toxic relationship or just in difficult situations in life, those who get into a conversation with you, especially if it's past small talk and it's a rather deep conversation, they will take away from meeting you and speaking to you that you are definitely someone who is very compassionate, someone who has been through a lot themselves, who has had their own fair share of pain and hurt and difficulties, and who can relate to others, someone who can put themselves in someone else's position and give another person a break. So a lot of people share their secrets with you unprovoked. So you may have screenshots that could ruin people's lives and existences. You may have had conversations with people such as lawyers, accountants, CEOs, managers, and they told you a lot of inside information that they really shouldn't have. And thank God they told you and not someone else, because you're able to take those secrets to the grave with you, group number one. You're the type of person who will not share this type of classified information. And people feel that. People sense that they can be real around you and that you are trustworthy. The Dolphin shows me that you have that sensitive side, but you also have a very fun side. The Dolphin is representative of you being a person who knows how to have a good time, who knows how to celebrate, who is fun to be around, and who can always see the humor even in very challenging times and very challenging situations. The Dolphin also shows a party guest that is everyone's favorite. So you having maybe even a lot of sarcasm within you that is very refreshing or that people don't expect. So if you consider yourself to be someone who has pretty privilege, like we talk about here in the Swan, or maybe it's not even something that you think about, but you know is maybe possible because you're a pretty humble, down-to-earth person. I see that in the Camel and the Deer. So you're not someone who is overly cocky, so you probably don't even think you have that privilege, but you probably do. I want you to know here in connectivity to the Dolphin that people really love this mixture of, on one hand, you could be a little cocky, you could be conceited, but you're not. You're actually the polar opposite. When people speak to you, it's like, wow, this person is so down to earth. This person is actually so fun. Do they even realize how attractive that they are? Do they even realize how much respect that they have from others because they just seem so grounded? I also see here within Hunger, which feeds into what we were talking about with the Camel and your endurance and the fact that you don't give up and that you're very determined, that you've got this hunger that other people can sense. Just moving everything a little up in the frame so you can really see all the cards within your reading, group one. So Hunger shows me that people view you as someone who is hungry for success, hungry to accomplish the things that they set their mind out to do, and that you're the type of person who doesn't take no for an answer. If you receive a no from someone, You think to yourself you're just asking the wrong person. I see within comfort that you kind of go in and out of your comfort zone. That's how others view you, as someone who likes their comfort zone and knows how to be comfortable and knows how to be in a space where they feel very relaxed, but you also have this hunger that takes you out of your comfort zone when necessary. So others see you as someone who is grounded enough to roll up their sleeves and get stuff done, but of course also likes to enjoy their accomplishments. I see here within fear that one thing that others see in you is the fact that you definitely have some parts where there are fears, where there are areas where you're kind of unsure. And I see here in connectivity to the deer, this may have to do with romantic interests. So as you can see, we've got a wall here. So people don't necessarily always see it as fear. However, the root is fear when it comes to you pushing people away. But there are certain people who you will push away, and maybe it's because you don't want to catch feelings because you've already been hurt or you've already been in challenging situations when it comes to relationships. And I see that this has definitely kind of created a little bit of a distance between you and people when you start to realize, oh my God, this is more than a friendship. This is more than just a simple connection. And I see here that your intuition also always guides you a lot. And in connectivity to fear, I see that when you sense that there is some sort of distress, something that is off when you meet a person, you don't show them fear and they don't necessarily think, oh, you're afraid. Strangers think to themselves that your wall is going up. For you, it's actually fear because you don't want to be involved with negative people or people who are going to drag you down or hurt you. So your intuition is ringing those alarm bells within you, and it's making you put up your defense mechanism and make sure that you keep anyone at arm's length who you kind of feel is maybe not 100% honest, or maybe not the type of person that you will be happy to have within your life. So trust your intuition. This is confirmed by your guides in the universe, group number 1. If you've ever asked yourself whether your intuition is trustworthy, this is your sign. This is literally your guides telling you to trust your intuition and otherwise to enjoy life. As we spoke about here in the dolphin, you are a great time to be around. You're the type of person that always brings amazing energy to the table. So don't let overthinking take that away from you, group number 1. You make an awesome first impression that is put together, clean, elegant, but also very fun and out there and bubbly. So also trust your intuition when you feel like you're meeting someone who is maybe a little jealous or doesn't appreciate it, or is only trying to be with you for their own interests and advantage. I see within No Strings Attached that others see you as someone who does not get attached too quickly. Strangers view you as someone whom they have to work to truly get to know on a level where you're going to get attached to another person. So you're kind of this no strings attached, free-spirited character. Others view you as someone who isn't dependent on anyone else, who doesn't feel like they need another person in order to be happy. And that is something that makes you very attractive. We've also got that reflected in your animals to a certain extent. So all of these animals, they thrive within groups, but they're also very confident on their own. And when they have to solve a problem by themselves, they can do it. This is very evident within dolphins, for example. It's very evident within swans. They can thrive when they need to by themselves. So next up, we've got connect with nature. Now, others view you as someone who is kind of an environmentalist, someone who cares about the environment. Others see you as someone who cares about more than just themselves. Maybe there are a lot of philanthropic things that you're wanting to do now and later on in life. And this is definitely the type of vibe that you give off, a very caring vibe, a vibe that is so in tune with nature and that just kind of is very wholesome. Okay, you have this like Gaia, Mother Earth type of energy about you. Within Stormy, others see you as someone who can be a very emotional being and who is expressive. So you don't hold your feelings inside of you. That's at least how others see it, but maybe you actually do, and what you express is already a lot for others to handle. I mean, it could go either way, group number one. This video and this reading is about how others view you, how strangers see you, what people think about you when they first meet you, and they definitely see that you're someone who is in touch with their emotions and who is also going to express how they feel. You are not going to hide your emotions for anyone. You're not going to shy away from saying what you're okay with and what not. And this is definitely something that other people view as positive because they feel like at least they know where they stand. Even if what you're saying is not always what they want to hear, you will be honest. Now, the Page of Cups here shows me that others see you as someone who is emotional, someone who is very loving, and people also sometimes underestimate you. So maybe it's because you've got a bit of a baby face, or you're just overall someone who has very young energy. Some people may think you're kind of naive and that you're still learning. If you are usually around people who are a lot older than you, maybe even twice your age, people who are your parents' age, I want you to know in the Page of Cups that it makes sense that they would see you as kind of like still a baby or still learning and still figuring out life. And if this is the case around people who are similar to your age, this is just them underestimating you. And I see within the Ace of Cups that often this even makes you attractive romantically and sensually because you seem inexperienced. And as society tries to kind of push this narrative of less experience being better and quote unquote low body counts being more valuable than high ones, don't know why this is even relevant, but that is just the society we live in. I want you to know that you kind of have this innocent effect on others. And it could also be true, of course. I'm not trying to say, group number one, that it isn't true, but I'm just telling you that this is the type of vibe that you give off that other people find attractive or other people want to be around, especially people who are romantically interested in you. So if you've always attracted those who are more mature or older than you, know that they like your young, fun, bubbly vibe and the fact that you seem to be on the less experienced side, if that makes any sense. So let's now move a little further into your reading. I want to definitely see here how much younger people think that you are looks-wise, okay? And then we'll talk about maturity level as well. So we've got the number 6. Don't be surprised if the older you get, the more time just stops. So when you reach the age of 26, it wouldn't be uncommon for people to actually even let you slide as a 20-year-old to still get ID'd. If you're 36 years old, you could pass as a 30-year-old. I definitely want you to know here that you look a lot younger than you actually are. So that's where we have this kind of youthful energy. But we know that you're a resilient person. You're the type of person who doesn't just give up, who is very disciplined. So when it comes to maturity levels, not your looks, sorry, I'm just making sure these cards are all looking nice for you, group number one. People usually would estimate you as older if they only had a phone conversation with you and didn't get to see you physically. Okay, we've got the number 9 actually. So you're the type of person who could easily, maturity-wise, kind of slide as being a decade older. Have this type of old soul energy. You are the type of person who by the age of like 30 will have already felt like they've lived multiple lifetimes, and there's just so much about you that doesn't correspond to your age. So you're biologically a certain age, but maturity wise, you are an old soul. You're the type of person who has just always been wise beyond their years, and that's also how other people view you, group number 1. So this is the reading that I received for you. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Leave a little fries emoji below in the comment section, as we did have hunger show up within your reading, and who doesn't like fries, to let me and others know that you made it to the end of your prediction and your reading, and that it resonated and that it was fun and insightful. Group number 1, know that I'm sending you so much love, so many hugs, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading about how others see you, how strangers view you, and what people think about you when they first meet you. I'm going to be completely direct, upfront, blunt, and honest, and I hope you can appreciate that. Now, you chose the Below the Surface Oracle. This is actually the unreleased prototype of my deck that's coming out very soon. You can get on the pre-orders list and secure your deck below in the description box. And we've also got the Carnelian crystal. I'll show you a little close-up of the Carnelian. I also have Carnelian palm stones in my online store. They're a lot bigger than this one and just a different, more intense red kind of color and quality. This is a stone that allows you to bring out passion, that allows you to feel re-energized and revitalized. So if you're feeling a little low, Carnelian is a great stone for you to not only put around your living space, but also for you to wear in the form of jewelry. So now let's see how strangers view you, how other people see you. Let's get straight into it. We've got the flower hat jelly. Now, this jellyfish is representative of the fact that people see you as someone who's very put together, like you've got a routine that really works for you. So people see you as someone who is organized, someone who has their life and their ish together, and someone who is just overall in a really good place and thriving. Now, group number 2, you are the only one who knows whether this is actually true or not, but this reading is, after all, about how others view you, not how you view yourself or how you see yourself. I see within the spotted eagle ray that others see you as someone who has everything under control. In relationships, the spotted eagle ray could represent someone who is a little jealous or controlling, but as this reading is about how others view you, I want you to know that they view you as someone who's very put together, who is not going to get screwed over by anyone because you've got control of situations. You know precisely where your money goes, what your contracts are that you've signed, what you're going to do next weekend. You're the type of person who maybe even meal preps, who is very put together to others at least. I see here within the great white shark that others also view you as someone who strikes when the iron is hot, as someone who goes for things that they want. Others view you as someone who is fearless, someone who isn't afraid to go after their dreams and their aspirations, and who in a way is also a little bit intimidating when it comes to that. The great white shark is an apex predator of the ocean, and it's definitely one of those creatures that I think not many of us would like to encounter while swimming in the ocean, because as we know, this is not an animal to play with. This animal is a loner. It doesn't live in a group. It doesn't need any social interaction. So others definitely see you as someone who does not need for anything. So you can live life by yourself. You can go after your goals without anyone else's support. You've got everything it takes within you to succeed. And the fact that you can be a lone wolf, that you can be a lone shark that just goes a lone shark. That's very punny. Like a lone shark, a shark selling loans. That's very funny. But you know what I mean, group number 2. You can be that person that gets through challenges by themselves. You can be that person who accomplishes goals without any external help or validation. And that can make you a very dangerous opponent and challenging person to be around for people who are jealous. I see within the vulture that people view you as the type of person who doesn't leave anything on the table. When you negotiate hard, and you take every last dollar off of the table that belongs to you. When you do something, you do it with 100% force, 100% conviction, and you don't allow for anyone to take what is rightfully yours. So the vulture is representative of the fact that people will only have scraps if you're in the room. Coworkers are not going to be able to take your spot or your position. Shifty people, crooks, are not going to be able to negotiate business deals with you that are within their favor. The vulture shows me that you're not one to play with, and that others view you as very smart, sharp, and not the type of person where there is a lot of room for error or a lot of room for them to deceive you. So you're definitely not the type of person that anyone thinks that they can just play with. We've got the shark again. Group number 2, you may also make the impression of being a bit of an introvert, being a bit of the type of person who enjoys their own company. I see that others view you as an individual who is very strong, who enjoys being by themselves, who doesn't need any type of external confirmation or validation, and again, who has everything under control and that they can't mess with and they can't play with. So you're a dangerous person to go up against, or at least that's the type of impression that you make on others when they first meet you. We've got the beaver here. You are also a creator. In case you didn't know this about beavers, they actually create new habitats. They are the type of creatures that have a big impact on the environment, especially when they are doing beaver things like kind of moving and shifting around logs and making dams and things like that. They create new habitats, new environments for other animals, for other creatures. And I want you to know here that others view you as a creator, as someone who provides value to society, as someone who is like a pioneer. You are this leader. There can only be one person at the top, and it is you. That's the energy that you bring forth. This introverted or energy of one, because the great white shark corresponds to the number one, and it is also the type of animal that lives by itself. It is like me-centric, if you will. That's the type of vibe that you give off. There can only be one person at the top. There can only be one person who makes it to the point where you control things, where you're the one who makes the plans, and you've gotten there. That's how others view you. The raccoon also shows me here that others view you as someone who knows precisely how to deal with a lot of different situations. You are a survivor. You're the type of person who can deal with any shady or shifty business partner. You can get yourself out of any sticky situation. But the fact that you have a little bit of a hard exterior, group number 2, is also a sign that people maybe don't realize that there is also softness to you, that there is also a side to you that does feel all the feels, or that sometimes does struggle or does need support. So you may actually often find yourself in predicaments where you wish that people would give you a little bit more of a shoulder to cry on, or who would ask you a little more how you're actually doing and how you're actually coping, and wouldn't just expect that you'll be fine because, well, you're so strong and you're so resilient. That can be something that group number 2 that you have to struggle with. That isn't easy. I see within movement that others view you as someone who is very fast, very witty, very quick. As mentioned in the vulture, you don't leave anything on the table. If you can make that extra money in a business deal, if you can put yourself in a position that is even better through negotiating, through kind of not elbowing other people out the way, but just fighting for what you want, you will do that. And you are not the type of person who is going to just remain stagnant or complacent. Also, in case you didn't know this, sharks need to continue moving in order to survive and actually not die. They need movement to happen. They never just are still. If you've ever seen a shark documentary or you've watched Shark Week, you'll see sharks are always in motion. If they're not, then they die. I see here within peace that regardless of the fact that you are a shark, that you're the type of person who goes for what they want, you don't do that in a way that is aggressive or that is shady or shifty or goes behind other people's backs. You are just fair game. To you, the person who works the hardest, who is the most dedicated, and who puts themselves out there the most is the person who should be awarded with all of life's luxuries. And you're willing to roll up your sleeves and work for what you want. You're willing to forgo personal desires and the easy road in order to have a life that not many will live and experience. But you are not doing that in a way where you're backstabbing or where you're kind of like taking what isn't rightfully yours. You earn everything. You want to have good relationships with everyone you come across. But of course, if it's between you and a competitor or you and a coworker, group number 2, you are not going to let them get that extra cash or promotion. You are not going to let your business fail You're going to do everything in your power to show that you are the person who deserves that promotion, who deserves to be on top, whose business deserves to continue thriving. Yes, determination. I hope that you can see this. I hope that my camera is really picking this up. Determination is one thing that other people can just feel in you. You give off this aura and this vibe of determination, of not being a quitter, of being a very resilient human being who doesn't take no for an answer. And when you choose to climb that mountain or to get to the other side, you are determined to get there, and you do get there. Next up, we've got strength. Group 2, the universe is really painting this very clear picture of how others see you and strangers view you. And again, this is how they see you. You may feel completely different on the inside, but others view you as very strong. Now, if you work out a lot, they may even physically view you as a strong person. If you have very good posture, you don't have to be large. It has nothing to do with your size. It's about posture. It's the energy you bring when you show up in a meeting, when you enter a room, when you shake someone's hand, when you look someone in the eye. You've got this strength, you've got this power that is not really something others can compare themselves to. It just puts you on a completely different position, on a pillar, on a different level, where others just think to themselves, man, this is one strong person. This is one person that I'm not going to play with. This is someone who I actually want on my team if I can. That's how others view you. Next up, we've got becoming a nobody. So I did mention earlier how you are more than willing to forgo personal desires and pleasures, to forgo maybe going out, drinking, having fun in order to work hard to accomplish things, whether that's studying or an actual profession. And in becoming nobody, I see that what makes you someone that others see as a very strong opponent and contestant in competitive situations is that you're not afraid to start all over. You're not afraid to become nobody, so to say, which is inspired by just starting on a blank slate if needed and relearning things. So if you've been doing something the same way for a long time and it hasn't worked out for you, that could be relationships, it could be the way you study or the type of work that you're in, and you're noticing you're just not happy with the results. You're not the type of person who will stay in that same position for their entire life or their entire existence. You've got this fighting spirit, group number 2. I mentioned this. You never give up. And your guides are here. They're 100% reading us through this tarot prediction because honestly, the fact that you received all of these cards that point to your fighting spirit, your strength, you're not afraid to do things by yourself, to go that extra mile. Really, it is no coincidence that you're receiving all of these cards specifically. It just definitely shows the fact that you are a very strong person to others. That's how others view you. They view you as someone who is bulletproof, someone who is fearless, someone who is determined, and someone who commands respect. You don't have to say, respect me, you just command respect. Next up, we've got the eagle. Others view you as someone who is very focused. The eagle can spot prey from such a distance. It has such great vision, and that is how others see you, as someone who visualizes, who attacks, who goes for it and succeeds, as someone who doesn't give up, who knows precisely what they want and who keeps their eye on the prize. Let's see what else we've got here. The gazelle. So you are also a elegant person. You are also someone who others view as beautiful, who others view as attractive. And it may come from the fact that you are so driven and that you're the type of person who isn't afraid to be grounded, to put in hard work. But the gazelle may also be representative of your physical features. If you have a lot of physical features that are very, I don't want to say fragile or thin, but are just more refined. It has nothing to do with the size, but more that your features aren't very prominent, they're more refined, everything kind of beautifully flows together. That's what I see here in the gazelle, that's how others view you from that standpoint. Now, group number 2, make sure that you leave a shark emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you were here and that you received your reading and that you made it all the way to the end. It's kind of like, if you know, you know. If you made it to the end of your reading, that's the only way you would know to leave this emoji below. So make sure you do that to let me and others know that you belong to group 2 and you're a real one. And group 2, I hope that you enjoyed this and found it insightful and interesting and fascinating. I'd like to thank you very much for being here and for spending this divine time and space with me. And I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading about how others see you and what people think about you when they first meet you. My name is Vanessa Somuayina, your favorite psychic and tarot reader here on YouTube, and I'm going to be very upfront, direct, and honest with you about how others view you. Now, you chose the Pastel Journey Tarot deck as well as the Jade crystal. I'll first do a little close-up of the crystal of your choice. This is a crystal that is known to bring you good fortune, luck, and abundance, which may be intuitively why you felt drawn to it, but maybe you just also loved the jade because it is physically very beautiful as well. Now let's move into your reading with the Pastel Journey Tarot, which is the second deck that I ever published. I love this deck so much. I'm obsessed with it. And it gives us such accurate answers. I see here within the Ace of Wands and the Two of Swords that others view you as someone who is very creative, someone who isn't afraid to stand out and be different, and also stand up for a cause. And the Two of Swords here shows me that people also see you as someone very open-minded. So you are never the type of person who already makes up their mind about another human being. You're very open-minded, you give people chances, and you like to form an opinion based on your own experience and based on the type of experience that you have with another person. So if there's a situation where you've heard rumors about another person and those rumors are negative, you don't immediately form that opinion of the person in question. You want to meet them and get to know them by yourself, and then you will form your own opinion about whether that is true or not, because you treat people the way you want to be treated. You give people the benefit of the doubt the way you want to receive the benefit of the doubt. And the Ace of Wands shows me here that there is some strong fire sign energy within you, where you maybe have fire sign placements within your Sun or your Mars, maybe also your Mercury, where you're a very clear communicator, you're creative, you're enthusiastic, you're passionate, and when you want to do something, even if you're the first one to do it in your family or in your environment, you'll do it. You're not afraid of standing out. You're not afraid of being a leader or being the one who tries out something that others thought to be impossible, because to you, you think at least you tried. Now, within the King of Wands, I can see some real boss energy. Whether you identify as male or female, everyone's welcome on this channel, but I want you to know that others view you as having some very strong masculine energy as well, as the Suit of Wands corresponds to the element of fire and also has this phallic symbol, which means this masculine type of symbol. As you can see here in the King of Wands, we've got someone who is self-assured, who is confident, someone who probably does not just give up very easily, and someone who also knows their worth, someone who is inspiring, charismatic, bold, and also very forceful when they need to be. That is how others view you. Now, group 3, if that is not how you view yourself, then know that there is a discrepancy between how the public sees you and others view you and how you see yourself, and that's okay. And this reading may just help you become more aware of some things that you didn't know or you didn't see about yourself. Next up, in the Six of Wands, others view you as someone who is very giving, very generous, someone who wants to see others win. That's what the Six of Wands is representative of. Others view you as not only a generous and philanthropic person, but also someone who goes the extra mile to do kind things, who isn't afraid to forgo some personal desires and pleasures in order to be there for others and in order to set a good example. So you are viewed by strangers as a very giving type of person who may also be prepared to give multiple chances when you feel like it's appropriate. Now, the earthworm, and if you are not into these type of creatures, I want you to know, group number 3, this is actually a very important animal, and I want you to just give it a chance. I want you to not judge it. Just as we spoke about, you form your own opinions once you get to know the facts. The earthworm is a very important component of keeping soil healthy. A lot of people don't see this work that the earthworm does. A lot of people aren't even aware of how important this living being and creature is to the health of the soil and therefore our planet. And I want you to know here that others also see you as an underdog in many instances. You are the type of person who helps when nobody is looking, who does the right thing when no one else is there. And the earthworm shows me that you are more important than you let on. So others view you as someone who is very humble. Now, you may have an important role, or you may eventually be a manager or a CEO or have your own business and lead a big team, but that's never the type of vibe or the type of feeling that you give off. This feeling of self-importance is something that doesn't exist with you, group number 3. You feel like you are just like everyone else. You're very humble, you're very down to earth, as the earthworm explains and communicates here within your psychic reading. And it just shows that you're not afraid to take matters into your own hands. You never feel like there's any job or task that is beneath you. So even if you are running a huge business and, for example, let's say the entire cleaning staff for some reason can't come in, you will roll up your sleeves with everyone else, with every other employee, and even stay longer if you need to clean the space or the office or whatever needs to be done until the situation is rectified and you can find new cleaners, hire new cleaners, or they can come back. Just to give you an example of what is meant here within the earthworm and how others view you. You are a team player. You are exceptional, but you don't make others feel like they are less than or beneath you. The unicorn shows me that others view you as someone who is very rare and very different. If this isn't the first time that you're on my channel, then you know that I call all of my beautiful subscribers and babies of the zodiac my beautiful little unicorns, and you definitely give off the impression of being truly one in a million, of being truly very unique, truly very different, and something unlike the rest. The dolphin shows me that you've always got good vibes going on, or at least that's the type of impression that you make, group number 3. Others see you as someone who is fun, who is pleasant, who is positive, and who always sees the glass as half full instead of half empty. And that is a very important mindset to have when you are a leader, or when you're the type of person who is a creative that is spearheading ideas, or that is kind of putting themselves in a leadership position and leading big projects where the outcome is unknown, and really the only thing you can lean on is belief that it will work out. So this is the only way that others can really rely on you. The stingray shows me that your backbone is something that others really love and cherish within you. Others feel safe around you. Other people feel like when you say something, you are about it. You're not just talking about it. When you say you'll do something, you follow through, group number 3. And this strong backbone is something that others appreciate, and some might even fear. Because when you're dealing with narcissists, or you're dealing with people who look for victims to emotionally kind of manipulate or use, they are afraid of people with a backbone like yours. So I see that you have this kind of repellent in you. Of course, there will always be one or another narcissist or kind of difficult person who thinks that maybe they can tame you, or maybe they can break that backbone down. There will always be that type of individual, but as a whole, you kind of have this BS repellent. You kind of have this vibe about you that tells others that you will not be pushed around, and where others can sense, hey, this person is not to be played with. This person is not someone who will tolerate disrespect. And that is where I can see that some people find frustration in that, People who are used to getting what they want, and then when they meet you and you treat everyone as an equal, that frustrates them. So think, for example, you're working in a big corporation and you're doing the hiring. You are the type of person who is in a leadership role, and there is a worker who comes from a very affluent background and they feel like they should get the promotion over a normal person or someone who comes from a lower class background. And they will feel very frustrated when they cannot use their family's power or money to sway you or convince you. And you are simply going to award the job, the promotion, the position of power to the person who deserves it most, not the person who just comes from money or who just comes from a situation where they've always been given everything or handed everything on a silver platter. You do not follow those rules. You've got this strong sense of self and backbone to do what is right when no one is looking, and you are very passionate about doing what's best for any given situation, whether that is for a business, hiring and firing the best person, not the person who talks the loudest or comes from the most well-known family or background or best school. You want the best person for the job. You're very passionate in relationships as well when it comes to doing what's best for the relationship, not just what your person wants. So in a relationship, if someone is pressuring you to, for example, just let something go, but you know it hasn't been discussed, it hasn't been worked on, it hasn't really been worked through, you're not just going to say, okay, fine, let's let it go. You're going to make sure that things are dealt with. And I definitely see that you are passionate about doing the right thing, and others can sense that, they can see that, they can feel that, they experience it. And the only people who will feel frustrated or have an issue with this passion for justice that you have within you are people who do not benefit from that, right? People wish that you weren't so morally on this high ground or in a place of a lot of integrity because they want to take advantage of that. So people who can't take advantage of you, they don't like this, and those are the type of people you don't want in your life anyways, group number 3. Next up, we've got the Ambon damselfish. I can see that others view you as someone who is opinionated, who is very vocal, and whose voice matters. You've got a lot of respect from people. You may not even notice this, but people do really respect you. People do really look up to you. You inspire more individuals than you know, group number 3. And don't be afraid to use your voice even more, to express your opinions to a higher degree than you have been up until this point, because it really does matter. You really do have some really great stories to tell and some inspiring words to share. The Mandarin fish shows me here that you are the type of person that others can see also has a very gentle side. You also have a side to you that allows you to take steps back. So if someone makes a mistake, you are the type of friend, partner, and boss who is not going to scream at the person. You're going to take some steps back and say, how did this happen? How did this come to be? Even if the person did something wrong. If you are dealing with someone who has lied or cheated or stolen, you're not immediately ambushing them. You're the type of person who knows how to be gentle in the situation and to take steps back and figure out what pushed this person to this point and how can we avoid this moving forward. Now, that doesn't mean that you will allow for another person to pull the wool over your eyes and you will allow them to walk all over you or do this again, but you want to find out what the issue is so it can be prevented, so that if anything like this happens again with the same person or another person, they feel comfortable enough to come to you and speak about it. I see here within the deep sea blind shrimp that you've got a lot of trust from other people. Others view you as very trustworthy, and you use all of your senses, especially your sixth sense, especially your intuition. You know when something is up, you know when something is wrong, and you will bring it up. You will use your voice. You will do it gently. You will do so in a way that doesn't ambush others and doesn't scare others, but nevertheless, you will speak up. And I see here within the black tip reef shark that you are very intelligent, very very quick and witty. That's how others see you, because you also understand when to stay in shallow waters, because sometimes superficial is enough. There are certain people where you could probably talk for a lifetime to try to help them to do better, to be better, to not lie and deceive or do things that aren't kind, or to just simply respect you and your boundaries. There are people with whom you can discuss the issue forever and they will not understand because they don't want to, or because it doesn't serve them, or because they're narcissistic, because they have their own thing going on, and you know that you can't influence that. And you're not going to waste your time on those relationships when it comes to trying to fix anybody. You know when to stay in shallow waters. You can move on like that very quickly to someone who is actually going to make use of you taking the time and energy to try to help them out and fix the situation. So that makes for you actually being someone who is very skillful when it comes to people skills, when it comes to managing people, handling people, dealing with people, because you don't waste time in situations where there's no point in you investing a lot of time and energy. Let's add a few more cards into your reading, shall we? We've got the Five of Pentacles. So I can see here that others really underestimate how much of a plan you actually have for yourself financially. I see that people think that you are maybe a bit more clueless than you really are when it comes to the plans you have moving forward. I see that certain people definitely underestimate how much money that you make or what you're capable of financially, because the Five of Pentacles shows me that you're not a super flashy person. You're the type of person who would rather have money in their account than just logos all over their life. And the Five of Pentacles definitely shows me here that others think you are very humble and are maybe not as financially stable as you currently are and will be moving forward, because of this mindset of not buying things just to impress people you don't really care about. I see here within the Ace of Swords that others view you as somebody who is very innovative, who is very intellectually gifted, someone who is very educated. Now, whether that is true or not, only you know that, group number 3, but you make this impression of being very intelligent, of being someone who knows what they're talking about. Now, that could come from confidence, from your backbone, but also from actual skill level, as you're not the type of person who is cocky for no reason. I mean, you are never cocky, group number 3, but you can be confident in situations when you know you've done the work and you know what you're talking about. And at the same time, you can remain humble, even when you know what you're talking about, and even when you know better than maybe someone else, because you know when to give others the opportunity to learn and to have their moment. And this is something that makes you very likable and that makes you a leader that others want to support and others trust. Now, group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. Please do leave a unicorn emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you were here and that you received your reading and that you're part of group 3. I'd like to thank you so much for being here and spending this divine time and space with me, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your prediction about how others see you and what people think about you when they first meet you. This reading is all about things that you might not see about yourself, and I'm going to give it to you very directly, bluntly, and honestly, because you guys know my channel is all about letting you know precisely what messages we're receiving, not just what everyone wants to hear. So group number 4, my name is Vanessa Somuayina, and I'm now going to get straight into your psychic reading. Now, you chose the Astral Realms Crystal Oracle deck as well as the Citrine crystal. I'm first going to do a little close-up of the crystal of your choice. This is the gorgeous Citrine crystal. This is a stone of abundance and also just light and positive vibes. You may have felt drawn to it because it's obviously gorgeous, but maybe you subconsciously also just knew that this is the type of energy that you need in your life, and potentially the type of energy that you radiate out out towards others. Now let's move into your reading. First up, we've got the Spirit Quartz. The Spirit Quartz is also connected to the number 33, which is a master number of someone who others look up to. You are the type of person who has very healing energies and healing vibes, and others like to be around you because of that. They also feel like they can learn a lot from you, so you are seen by others as an old soul, as someone who is wise beyond their years, and you may have always been seen as someone who is very mature for their age, especially. Even growing up, you may have heard that over and over again, and people will always feel that way about you. Even when you're 90 years old, people will feel as though you've lived to 400, group number 4. Next up, we've got the Aquamarine, which tells us that other people see you as someone who is very intuitive, someone who listens to their instinct and their gut feeling, someone who cannot be swayed by other people's opinions. So you are seen as someone who is confident, someone who is open-minded, but also someone who takes themselves seriously. So what people think about you when they first meet you is that on one hand you have very healing, supportive, kind energy, but at the same time you are not someone who is just going to believe everything that someone says. You use your discernment and you use the wisdom that you've accumulated over the years to make your decisions. Next up, we've got the Herkimer Diamond. The Herkimer Diamond is such an amazing crystal, and it shows that others see you as someone who is very aligned. So the Herkimer Diamond is representative of your wants, needs, desires, and intentions being in alignment with one another. What this means is that when others first meet you and you, for example, say it's very important for you to embrace fairness and equality, you also walk the talk. You don't just talk about it, but you actually help others be in a situation that is fair. If you are able to employ people, you will employ people from any type of ethnic background and any type of sensual orientation because you strive for equality. If you are in a position where you can help out someone, regardless of their age, gender, background, you will do so. So you actually reflect in your actions the things that are important to you and the belief system that you have. If you believe in not judging people or who they end up with, romantically speaking, it will show while others are gossiping about other people's relationships and what it looks like on the surface. If there's a couple that walks by on the street and one person in that relationship is a lot older than the other person, while a group of people next to you or even your group of friends or coworkers might judge that relationship, you're the type of person who says, hey, you don't know why they're together, what feelings they have for one another, what the relationship is really about. You guys are only seeing a little snapshot, and I'm not really going to judge the situation. That is the type of person that you are, and others view you as someone who's very open-minded. The Eight of Cups does show me here that others also see you as someone who leaves pretty quickly if a situation is toxic or a situation is unhealthy. You try to steer clear of gossip and drama. Other people see you as a safe haven for just real talk, deep conversations, and drama-free type of energy, as you absolutely do not like to be involved in anyone's personal business that is just drama. You're always here to help, but you will make a run for it if you realize that someone is purposely inviting drama into a situation or into their life. You don't want anything to do with that. The Hanged Man reversed shows me here that other people view you as someone who isn't afraid to bring some movement into things. You're not afraid to not only get up and walk away if necessary from a situation that isn't healthy, but you're also the type of person who knows when to take action and when to rest. You don't let other people stress you out. You function on your own timeline, but you're also disciplined enough to know when something needs to be done. When it comes to work, for example, you are not stressed to get everything done in one day. You know how to prioritize, and at the end of the day, whatever needs to get done gets done. You are someone who is seen as reliable by other people. Now, the Page of Swords also shows me that others view you as someone who is creative, who has really fun and innovative ideas and energies, which is why in your future career, and professionally speaking, you will find that a lot of opportunities come your way where you are the one developing creative concepts, you are the one hiring and firing people, you are the person who is coming up with ideas on how to drive an establishment forward, and you are the one executing. The Page of Swords shows me that people trust you with their lives, basically, and they trust that once they put responsibility into your hands and into your possession, that you will handle it carefully and in a trustworthy manner, and you will follow through on the things that you've got to do. Now, the Eight of Swords here shows me that others also view you as someone who keeps a lot to themselves. You are a mysterious individual, group number 4. You are the type of person that others find a little difficult to read sometimes. That may cause them to feel a little bit intimidated by you. I see that others view you as someone who doesn't exactly open up to just anyone that walks down the street, probably for good reasons. And the Eight of Swords definitely also shows me that others can be a little bit afraid to be hurt by you. And group 4, you may be laughing right now. You may think to yourself that you'd rather catch flights instead of feelings because you've actually been the one hurt, in fact, and you would never really hurt another person or another being knowingly, but others kind of feel as though you can be a little difficult to get to know on a very personal level. But it could just also be, group number 4, that you are more of an introvert. You like to keep your circle small. So you will be friends with people, but you're not going to let everyone in. And that makes a lot of sense. I see within the hummingbird that you are seen by others as someone who is super, super quick to act when it's necessary and to be there for others. You are seen as someone who is reliable, emotionally speaking as well. So if someone is going through a tough time in a relationship or with a breakup, you're usually the first one that they will call because you're the first one who knows the precise words to cheer the person up. You are very much often an emotional crutch or a very stable point in family constructs or even with your friends. You are the go-to person, which means that you also need to learn to protect yourself, group number 4, and sometimes not let people just dump their stuff on you because it can get heavy. It can definitely be a lot. So the Nightingale shows that you are very outspoken, and you have to definitely exercise this outspoken nature of yours when it comes to those closest to you too. You can't feel bad about it, group number 4. You have to sometimes create some distance and remind yourself to communicate when someone is asking a little too much of you or is putting a little bit too much of their own personal thing on you. And you also need to talk. You also have things that you're going through. Sometimes you would also like some support. You can't just always be the one healing others. You can't always be the one just giving to others. You also deserve to have a safe haven. Now here within the Stingray, I can see that you've got an exceptional backbone. Others either view you as someone who has really great posture from a optical standpoint, but they also may view you as someone who isn't afraid to say how they feel, who isn't afraid to have an opinion, like we spoke about in the Nightingale. You are outspoken and you've got a backbone. Just because somebody in a higher position or someone who comes from an affluent background or has a lot of power or is seen by others as influential doesn't mean that you will change your opinion around them. You are someone who's very real, very true to their beliefs and how they feel about things, and you will vocalize that. You will be very verbal about these situations. And I see within the Stingray that the fact that you've got backbone is something that people really love because you will never kind of compromise your integrity just to please someone else. You will never be that person who just agrees with another individual because of how society has put them on a pedestal. To you, everybody is equal, and that's how you're going to treat people. I see within the Horse that you are viewed as someone who is freedom loving. You are viewed as someone who isn't afraid to travel, to explore, to see new things, and you are definitely a very interesting individual. Once helps you allow people closer to you spiritually and emotionally. You are the type of person that another individual sees as interesting because of the stories that you've got to tell, the stories that you have accumulated over the years. And I also want you to know here in the horse that people view you as someone who is delicate to a certain extent. We've got that in the horse, a hummingbird and a nightingale. You have this very soft part of you that shows that you are human, that shows that you are understanding and empathetic. And that's probably also why you decide to keep people at arm's length when you're not sure, because you know you have this vulnerable side and you don't want to expose it to just anyone. Next up, within Take Action, it becomes very clear that something you may not see or notice about yourself is actually how much action that you've taken. You may always feel like you're not quite where you want to be, like there's still so much to do and accomplish and work on, so much that you can still reach professionally. But know here within Take Action that you take action on a daily basis. You take the initiative more than you give yourself credit for. And people notice this. People notice that you are the type of person who isn't afraid to step up to the plate and do things. But the thing is, you are most likely not giving yourself enough credit for this, because if this is how others view you and this isn't how you view yourself, group number 4, give yourself a little bit more grace. Give yourself some more moments of just patting yourself on the back or on the shoulder and saying, no, I really did this. I really took action like this. I am really that bee. I'm really that person who is fearless and who has proven to be fearless on so many different occasions. Think to yourself, 5 years ago, you would have killed for some of the things that you have in your life right now. You wished and prayed for some of the accomplishments that you've now got on your CV, that you've now got kind of crossed off your list. So never forget how much you have accomplished and how much action you've taken to get to where you are. I see within Prioritize Reflection that others view you as someone who is very reflective and maybe even introspective, someone who is maybe a bit of a loner as well, someone who isn't afraid to be within their own company. And you are not the type of person who is afraid to be wrong. You are very open. You are okay with the fact that sometimes you make mistakes, and people view you as someone who is easy to have a discussion with because you don't just form your opinion and then stick to it. You reflect on things. You actually really listen to other people. Now, the mantis shrimp is representative of other people viewing you as someone who never gives up, someone who is resilient, and someone who is just about to turn the corner to some huge successes, to having made it, so to say. Think to yourself a famous actress or actor, musician who has made it, and where friends and family, they just always knew that they were special. They always knew that that person was going to become something. That is how others view you. You may not know this. They may have not told you this in such a direct, clear way, but that's the type of vibe that others get from you. I see within the Ocellaris clownfish that you are a very protective person. You take care of your sacred spaces. Others view you as someone who is family oriented, who truly cares about their friends and everyone who's close to them. And others see you as a wonderful parent or caregiver, a wonderful person to have a family, and to just overall be in a position of power when it comes to taking care of elders or children or animals. You have this very protective nature where it doesn't matter what the threat is, you will try your best to protect loved ones and those who cannot protect themselves. That is how others view you. Now, group number 4, this is the reading that I received for you, and I hope that you found it very insightful. Leave some boxing gloves below in the comment section to let me and others know that you were here and that you were part of group number 4. I hope you enjoyed this very honest and direct reading about how others view you and that it was insightful. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you did, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings.